Well, milk my udder and churn my butter. We're talking about Superman. I'm gonna start with the good. The visuals were really good. The effects and the fight scenes, James Gunn did an amazing job. I love the amount of attention that James Gunn always gives to characters who are obscure, who we don't talk about, right? Mineral Man, Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner, the Green Lantern. You can just see James Gunn's love for comic books, and that always is present throughout any movie that he makes. Which is great, because you don't have these money grab movies that are just like soullessly pumping out superhero movies. It's good to see a comic book lover actually make a comic book movie. Let's get into some of the characters. David Cornsweet. First of all, he went to my school, so it was very inspiring to see my big brother David Cornsweet up there. We went to Juilliard for acting. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I did not like this take on Superman. It felt more like he was Superboy. I don't know if that was David's fault, because I think there was just some really cringy moments, like the monologue at the end where he's talking to Lex Luthor and he's just like, that's what makes me special. It's not that I don't make mistakes, it's because I am flawed that makes me Superman. And then after he goes off on Lex, you just see Krypto attacking Lex. And he's just like, Krypto, no, Krypto, no, Krypto. We're gonna talk about the dog. We're going to talk about the dog. So yeah, I think David did a good job, but I don't think he was given too much to work with. I think that Superman was written a little superficial in this movie. I also wanted him to be bulkier. Like, Henry Cavill really set the bar, and we're gonna have to compare Henry Cavill. Like, that's just the conversation we cannot avoid. Lois Lane did a really good job. I don't know what that actress's name is, but I think she did a really good job. Like, she really helped carry this movie. I was really here for her acting. I was here for her story. I was loving her interview scene. Like, I think she did a really good job. I love Ma and Pa. Just their accents were so funny. Superman doesn't really have such a cartoony take like this. And I really did love to hear their accents. And Pa made me cry when he was talking to Superman about how he doesn't want him to be the perfect son, but he just wants to give him the tools to make him better. As I was not feeling Lex Luthor, I think that these directors really get caught up in trying to make him like this nerd. But I think the thing about Lex Luthor is that he's not the stereotypical nerd. He works out and he is cold and calculated. But I think a lot of directors do this thing with Lex Luthor where they make him so angry at Superman and just like screaming at Superman. But I personally don't see Lex Luthor as someone who even gets to a point of scream. Like, even when he gets caught at the end, I wanted him to be like, well, I'll get you next time. But I don't want to. I just feel like people are really inclined to like cast these like very teenage angst type Lex Luthors, and I'm not a fan. I don't know what her name is, but the Nanobots lady, she was killing it. Like, she was my favorite character, because every time she was on screen, the action scenes, she really brought to life a lot of these action scenes. Interesting, because I thought she was going to be Mercy Graves from what I saw in the trailers, but Mercy Graves was nowhere to be found, which is crazy to me because Mercy Graves is like the Harley Quinn of Batman. And Harley Quinn and Mercy Graves both were created in the TV shows, but Harley Quinn instantly became mainstream media. So I was hoping the same would happen with Mercy, because Mercy in the comic books is half android. Very curious why Mercy Graves wasn't added. So as a comic book fan, I don't know who this Nanobites lady is. I've never seen or heard of this woman before. Guy Gardner was funny. We knew that he was going to bring the funny with his haircut. I was just very confused about why he's leader, because if you read the comic books, Guy Gardner is always immature and rarely the leader of anything. To be honest about Hawk Girl, I did not like Hawk Girl. And hold on, I'm a huge Hawk Girl fan. Like, JLA, Justice League animated show, that was my favorite character on that show. Hawkgirl just had a lot of forced comedy. I feel like they were trying to make her, you know, very spicy but in the comic book, she's very royal, she's very regal. I love Mr. Terrific. Mr. Terrific was one of my favorite characters in this movie. I thought he was funny. I thought he had one of the best fight scenes in the whole movie, where he's like protecting Lois but also just like going in on Lex Luthor's camp. I really thought that was really good, and I thought Mr. Terrific did a terrific job. I was not a fan of the Justice League gang's outfits. Like, those were like kind of taking me out, because I'm like, why do they have to have matching outfits? Why can't they just have their usual outfits? There's a scene where Mr. Terrific is standing and like the outfit just looks so uncomfortable on him. So although I was a fan of the Justice League gang and how James Gunn is bringing to life all of these obscure characters, I didn't like how they looked. I loved like seeing them in the background. That's another really good thing about James Gunn. He knows how to bring these worlds to life. I love seeing how the Justice League gang was beating up this monster in the background, and Lois and Superman are having this very romantic conversation, and the monster's just in the background getting beat up. It's just like, in this world, superheroes and super villains are so common that, yeah, you could just be chilling in your home while someone's killing a monster. All right, let's talk about the bad. Oh, I hated the dog. Hold on. I love dogs. I love dogs. I love Krypto. I grew up with Krypto. Krypto, the super dog. I love Krypto as a character. I did not love him in this movie. You could tell that James Gunn really loves his dog, because there were a few moments where we could get away from the dog. And going back to the Lex Luthor moment where Superman is having his big monologue at the end, Krypto comes, and it seemed like the gag happened a lot where Krypto would just be biting on something that he shouldn't. It seemed to happen like 7 times. A lot of the movie was Superman trying to get Krypto to do something that Krypto didn't know how to do. Well, I was not a fan of like watching Krypto bite things for most of the movie, because the first few times it was funny, but when it happened for like the 8th and 9th time, I just was over it. Well, there was a lot of forced comedy in this movie. For example, the selfie girl with Lex Luthor. Also, I don't know if there's a real comic book equivalent for her. Someone please let me know if there is. But the selfie girl was not funny to me, and you know, like, I get it, selfies are a thing, but it just wasn't funny. There's a scene at the end of the movie where Lois is like, oh, well, can I interview you one-on-one over here? And they go, and then the people at the Daily Planet are just like, yeah, well, how long have they been hooking up? Which wasn't funny to me that they said that, but I did appreciate how James Gunn handled the Superman's identity thing, because a lot of people have questions like, how do people not know that that's Superman? And so he kind of answered it of like, it looks like the people who are close to him just know that that's Superman and don't say anything, which I really appreciated. Also, side note, I think a lot of the Daily Planet characters could have been X'd out. For example, the girl who had the cleavage out all the time, like, I didn't know what her deal was and who she was. I don't know what purpose the Daily Planet characters served. Yeah, guys, there was a lot of forced comedy. Like, there were a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to laugh here, because you see James Gunn's humor. I did not like Mineral Man's involvement in the movie. I love Mineral Man. I love adding obscure characters again. But for Mineral Man to say, oh, well, I can't make a son, and then he just makes a son, I thought it was a little confusing. I'm like, wait, has Mineral Man ever did that in the comics? Didn't know why the baby was there, why Mineral Man's son was there. It all seemed a little too goofy. One thing I did not like about this movie, I definitely didn't like. So it's leaked that there's this message from his parents. And so everyone is aghast because the parents said to take over the world and control the world. And I think a big thing for me was just like, in a world where PR is a thing, in a world where people spin narratives all the time, Superman could not have just come out and said, hey y'all, this is not what my parents said, or hey y'all, this is you know, something I didn't know about. Okay, I get it. Like, okay, maybe Superman just doesn't lie. Like, maybe that's his thing. Maybe Ma and Pa told him never to lie. But I think that Superman was attacked so easily without any fight. So for example, he didn't like try to talk to the world, and he didn't try to explain himself. And I just feel like celebrities who get into controversies these days, they would just come out and try to explain themselves or try to backtrack or something. I could not keep up with the plot. I didn't know what was happening with this foreign country and that foreign country. I did not know what was going on and how that related to Lex Luthor. And I thought at the end where it's like, oh, Lex Luthor is evil and Superman is good. Turns out Superman did something good. It just seems that the narrative switched so easily. And again, if the narrative switched so easily, why couldn't they have just switched easily when the message to the parents came out? That being said, y'all, I did enjoy the movie. I thought this was a good movie. James Gunn is good with ensemble pieces. We've seen that with Suicide Squad. That is one of my favorite movies he's ever made. That is one of my favorite movies ever. We've seen that with Creature Commandos. We've seen that with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it kind of missed a few notes here because Superman is not usually an ensemble character. Usually Superman is flying into the sun alone to save the world. Usually alone. So this is not the Superman that I wanted. It felt more like a Superboy movie to me, but I do applaud the cast, the producers, and James Gunn for the originality. I will take originality over anything. Y'all, let me know what y'all thought about the movie. Make sure to subscribe. It goes such a long way. I'm almost to my goal of 500 subscribers. So subscribe and I'll see you next time.